Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. In this video, we will read part 1 of the chapter Reach for the Top. Success is not easy to achieve. It needs a lot of sacrifice, hard work, determination, willpower. It is difficult but not impossible. It is evident from the life of two successful women, Santosh Yadav and Maria Sharapova, who have achieved extraordinary success in their respective careers. They have achieved the pinnacle in their field. In this video, we will read about Santosh Yadav, and in part 2, we will read about Maria Sharapova. Santosh Yadav is the only woman in the world who has scaled Mount Everest twice. She has reached the top of Mount Everest twice. She was born in a society where the birth of son was regarded as blessing. It was considered a blessing. People welcomed it with happiness. But birth of daughter, although it was not considered a curse, but it was not generally welcome. People were generally not happy with the birth of a girl child. When her mother was expecting Santosh, a holy man gave her blessing, assuming that she wanted a son. But to everybody's surprise, the unborn child's grandmother, who was just standing close by, she told that they don't want a son, and the holy man was also surprised to hear that they don't want a son. Nevertheless means despite what has just been referred to, despite the fact that grandmother did not want a son, she wanted a daughter. The destiny had its own play and the blessing seemed to work. Santosh was born. She was the sixth child in a family with 5 sons, a sister to 5 brothers. She was born in a small village of Joniavas of Rewari district of Haryana. So she was born in Rewari district of Haryana. The meaning of the name Santosh is contentment, which means satisfaction. But Santosh was not always content. She was not always satisfied with the traditional way of life. In villages, people generally live in a traditional way. But Santosh was not satisfied with that. She began to live life on her own terms from the very beginning. While other girls used to wear traditional Indian dresses, Santosh always preferred shorts. She always wanted to go against the traditions of the society. Now, when she looked back, she says that from the very beginning, I was quite determined. She was quite firm that if she chose the right, correct, and the rational path, the relevant path, the others had to change and not her. So Santosh was always a rebel. She wanted to rebel against the traditional way of life. She wanted to live her life in her own terms. And she knew that if she is right, if she is walking on the correct path, others around her has to change, not her. Santosh's parents, they were affluent landowners. Affluent means wealthy. They were landowners, they were rich, and they could afford to send their children to the best schools in the country's capital, New Delhi, which was quite close by. But in line with the prevailing custom of the family, that means according to the customs in the family, Santosh had to make to do with the local village school. She had to study in the local village school because girls were not allowed to go out. So she decided to fight the system in her own quiet way, and she waited for the right moment to arrive. She was quiet and she was just waiting for the right moment when she can do what she wanted to. And the right moment came when she turned 16. At 16, most of the girls in her village, they used to get married, but Santosh was not ready for that. Marrying at such a young age was not in her mind. Santosh was also under pressure from her parents to do the same thing. That means to get married. But she did not want to do that. That was the last thing in her mind. She threatened her parents that she would never marry if she did not get a proper education. So she wanted to get proper education before getting married. So she left her home and got herself enrolled in a school in Delhi. When her parents refused to pay for her education, she politely informed them of her plans of earning money by working part-time to pay her school fees. Then her parents had to agree to pay her school fees. So she was not ready to get married at such young age. She wanted to get her education first. She also got herself enrolled in a school in Delhi. And when her parents told her that they can't pay her school fee, she politely told them that she would do part-time job. Then the parents agreed to pay her school fees. Now, she always wished to study a bit more, with her father slowly getting used to her urge for more education. Slowly, her father also understood her urge, her want for education. Santosh passed the high school examination and she went to Jaipur, where she joined Maharani College and got a room in Kasturba Hotel. Now, Santosh remembers about those days. Kasturba hotels face the Aravali Hills, and Santosh used to watch the villagers from her room going up the hill and suddenly disappearing, suddenly vanishing after a while. One day she decided to look it out herself. Where do the villagers go? And she went there, but she did not find anyone except few mountaineers. So she went there looking for the villagers. Where do they go? But she couldn't find the villagers, but she found some mountaineers there, and she asked them if she could join the mountaineers. And to Santosh's surprise, they answer in positive, and they also motivated Santosh to take climbing, to start climbing. Then there was no looking back for this determined young girl. Since that day, she saved some money and enrolled in a course at Uttarkashi's Nehru Institute of Mountaineering. Santosh says that her college semester in Jaipur was ending in April, but it was supposed to end in April, but it ended on the 19th of May, and Santosh was supposed to join the course in Uttarkashi on 21st. So she had to go back home after her semester end in April, but instead of going there, she went straight to Uttarkashi, and she had to write an apology letter to her father, without whose permission she had enrolled herself at Uttarkashi. So she thought that in April her semester will end, she would go home, and then from there she would go for her course in Uttarkashi. But it ended on 19th of May, and on 21st she had to join the course. So she couldn't go home, but she went straight to the course in Uttarkashi and she wrote an apology letter to her father. You can go through the word meaning. Okay. Thereafter, Santosh went on a climbing expedition every year. Expedition is a journey which is undertaken by a group of people for a particular purpose, and her climbing skills matured rapidly. She started climbing and she was already skilled, and her climbing skill also matured. They also became good rapidly, very fast they became good. Also, she developed a remarkable resistance. Resistance is the ability of not to be affected by something. So she was not affected by cold and height. Altitude is height. She was equipped with iron will. She had strong willpower. She has physical endurance. Endurance is the ability to withstand to something. She was physically strong and she had amazing mental toughness. So she had all the qualities that is required for a mountaineer. Resistance to cold and altitude, strong willpower, physical endurance, and mental toughness. She proved herself repeatedly. The culmination of her hard work, culmination is the highest point. So the highest point of her hard work came in 1992, just 4 years after she had shyly asked the Aravali mountaineers if she could join them. So just after 4 years of her starting mountaineering, she got success in 1992. She was hardly 20 years of age when Santosh Yadav scaled Mount Everest. So she scaled Mount Everest when she was not even 20. She became the youngest woman in the world to achieve that feat. Feat is an achievement that requires great courage and strength. So mountaineering, climbing Mount Everest requires great strength. So if her climbing skills, physical fitness, and mental strength impress her seniors, her concern for others and desire to work together with them found her a special place in the heart of fellow climbers. So she was not only liked by her seniors because of her physical fitness and mental strength, she was also liked by her fellow mountaineers because she was very cooperative. During the 1992 Everest mission, Santosh Yadav provided special care to a climber who lay dying at the South Col. South Col is a point between Mount Everest and Nepal. So in South Col, she provided special care to a climber, but unfortunately, she was not successful in saving him. However, she managed to save another climber, Mohan Singh, who would have met with the same fate. That means who would also have died if Santosh had not shared her oxygen with him. Within 12 months, Santosh found herself a member of Indo-Nepalese Women Expedition. They invited her to join them. So in 1992, Santosh climbed Mount Everest for the first time, and within 12 months, she was invited by an Indo-Nepalese Women Expedition to join them for the expedition. And she scaled Mount Everest for the second time, thus setting a world record of being the only woman to have scaled Mount Everest twice. She secured herself a unique place in the annals. Annals is the height of mountaineering, in the greatest achievers of mountaineering. And in recognition of her achievement, the Indian government bestowed upon her one of the nation's top honors, the Padma Shri. She was bestowed upon means presented or conferred. She was awarded with one of the nation's top honors, the Padma Shri award. Describing her feelings when she was literally on the top of the world, Santosh says, "It took some time for the enormity of the moment to sink in." Enormity of the moment means greatness of the moment. To sink in means to be understood and absorbed. So when she climbed the mountain, it took her some moment to actually come to the senses and to be able to enjoy, to be able to understand what actually happened. It happens with us also when we achieve something very great. We also take some time to absorb the moment, to actually realize what we have achieved. So the same thing happened with Santosh. Then I unfurled the tricolor, Indian tricolor, and held it aloft on the top of the world. Then she unfurled our national flag and she held it high on the top of the world. The feeling is indescribable. That feeling was indescribable. The Indian flag was flying on the top of the world, and it was truly a spiritual moment. I felt proud as an Indian. So Santosh says that she feels proud as an Indian that she was able to host an Indian flag at the top of the world. Also a fervent is having a strong and sincere feeling. She was also a sincere environmentalist. She is also a sincere environmentalist. Santosh collected and brought down around 500 kilograms of garbage from Himalayas. She was able to bring down about 500 kgs of garbage from Himalayas. So Santosh Yadav achieved success in her life all because of her determination, her hard work. She fought the traditional values of the family. She wanted to live her life in her own style, and she achieved it. And she also got Padma Shri because of her success in life, for what she has achieved in mountaineering. So this was about Santosh Yadav. In other video, I will post about Maria Sharapova. Till then, bye-bye. Take care.